Okay, so I'm going to be doing my presentation on Whoopi Goldberg. Whoopi Goldberg is an American actor, comedian, author, and popular television personality. She is seen on many different platforms of media all across America. Here's some starter basic information about Whoopi. Whoopi Goldberg, her actual name is Karen Elaine Johnson. She was born November 13th, 1955. She was born in Manhattan and raised by her mother alongside her brother Clyde. Her father was in her early life, but she was raised in a single mother home with her little brother and her mom. She attended a local Catholic school with her brother in younger elementary level and middle school. Her and her family moved a lot. Her mom was a nurse and later became a teacher, so they had a sort of an unstable working environment, I guess. Her mom was moving a lot from different jobs. They moved with family, and they had a lot of family across America. They went from Georgia to Florida and Virginia, and a lot of this instability in her early life was one of the factors that caused her to drop out of high school. Whoopi's career, her career didn't take off until in the early 1980s, so she was kind of older. She worked as a bricklayer for much of her life, and one day she decided to move to California, and this is where we see her career took off. She began working closely with small improv groups where she developed her skill as like a stand-up comedian, so she was really kind of building a name for herself and a fan base. She worked in a lot of small local like clubs and comedy shacks, whatnot, getting her fan base built up. She got really lucky with her first big film, like her first big star role in the film The Color Purple. She received an Oscar nomination and Best Actress. The film was very popular, and she had one of the main roles, and this really helped spark her career for her. After that, in the years following, heavily up to the year 2000 to 2005 was like her primetime filming career. She took on many lead roles in many different films and genres. So as we're looking at Whoopi Goldberg, she suffered from dyslexia, and for much of her life she was self-diagnosed and believed that she was just behind. So a lot of her early life she knew that something was wrong, but she wasn't quite sure. She spoke about dyslexia and her challenges she faced growing up at the annual Adam Katz Memorial Conversation, and one of the quotes that we heard there from Whoopi was, "What I remember about being a kid was I felt pretty protected. I wasn't afraid, and I had a mother who understood. After a while, there was something different about the way I learned." And we can see the quote in the corner. "The advantage is that my brain sees and puts information in my head differently, more interestingly than if I saw like everyone else." So her mom and her family, they knew something was wrong, but she was never diagnosed with it, and that was also one of the pressures of her in school and one of the other reasons leading her to drop out. Goldberg expresses that there were times when she was misunderstood and guided because of her dyslexia, and that she was mistaken as lazy a lot in school and outcasted by her peers. Her mom, and as Goldberg remembers, that she had a wonderful memory growing up and looked forward to reading and story time, and she had a very vivid imagination, and Goldberg insists that this is one of her main influences that has helped her in her career. She was not diagnosed until adulthood, and with struggling in school, this is, like I had mentioned, one of the main stressors that led her to drop out of high school, and she relied on museums and public lectures to secure and continue her education. Her mom would give her a little bit of money and send her out to these museums and conversations to help her still have a foundation of education. And during this time, the moving and the dropping out of school, she developed a drug problem that took over her life for a few years, and she became clean when she joined a group of fellow actors that were supporters of her. She's had a lot of contributions to society. She served and still serves actively on the board for Film Aid International, so a lot of international films and diversity. She's a main activist for equal rights that we see among celebrities. She's helped bring much attention to causes such as children's health, substance abuse, mental health. We see like adoption and a lot of things like that. She, since 1986, has hosted the Comic Relief television special that benefits charities and helps children and the homeless. She's an activist for gay and lesbian LGBTQ community rights. She has support of hundreds of charities and foundations. There's a site that shows all the organizations that she's given and donated her time and money to. And she has yearly and conferences and conversations and platforms regarding learning disabilities. So we do see her activating towards dyslexia and other learning disabilities amongst children and into young adults. The impact that dyslexia has had on her life, she has made countless statements regarding dyslexia and the impact. She's very driven towards admitting her, like, going forward and seeing how it's impacted her. One of the quotes is, "I think perhaps it made me more introspective, made me more thoughtful, maybe slightly slower in how I do things because it takes me a minute to figure things out." She said she learned and developed tricks at a young age that have helped her overcome her dyslexia and, like, her acceptance of it, and she's more open and willing to talk about it and use it as a strength. She really was able to learn by having people read her own lines and scripts to her, and it really helped her memorize things. And just to really tie her in together and just looking at the type of person that she is and how positive of an influence she is amongst children and those who suffer from learning disabilities just like her, and those who are discouraged. She had a really harsh upbringing, but she really created a platform for herself, and I think that the name Whoopi really just speaks volumes and gives her such a characteristic. She stated that the stage name came from a whoopee cushion. Goldberg directly stated, "When you're performing on stage, you never really have time to go to the bathroom and close the door. So if you get a little gas, you've got to let it go." So people used to say that to me, "You're like a whoopee cushion." And I think this really speaks volumes on her personality and the type of person that Whoopi Goldberg is. She really created her own platform. She gave up an entire life of what she knew to start over and start new. And we see that she has had much success in her career, and she's still a TV show host right now. And I think that dyslexia definitely has made her a stronger platform and overall person. And we really see this within her entire career and her entire personality.